Hey!
Hey.
Oh, look at your background. Cool.
I mean, this is how it looks at my place, and
My place as well, so
yeah, it's normal.
Yeah, sure. Hi there. Hi. How
Hi.
you doing?
We're good. How are you, Stasha?
Cool. Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, I got a fine for not keeping safety distance when I was driving to Meiringen, and it's pretty expensive.
Really?
So-
Wow.
really,
Yeah, it's like less than 4/10 of a half of a tachograph or whatever, and it's 180 euros and one point.
in Germany then.
Yeah, I was 26 meters on 135 kilometers per hour, and I don't even remember that, so I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it cut my day off today.
Ah, shit. Yeah. But first of all, cheers and welcome.
Ah,
Wait
yeah.
a second.
Yours?
I need to open this first. We're drinking away. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good to see you, Stasha.
Yeah, you too. I've seen Vladek last week, but I haven't seen you in a long time.
So, like I said, welcome. And I don't know, do you know anything about what we're doing here?
Vladek told me a few sentences. I have no idea in general, but yeah, if you could explain a bit.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it started off with me and my friend Thomas, who's usually with us, but today he's celebrating something with his family, so he's not here today. We were talking over beers, and we were both quite old. So we were like, we're getting older. Can we do anything about it? No, we can't. We're going to get older. That's how it is. But can we sort of get back to where we were like 20 years ago, fitness-wise, climbing-wise? And we were like, yeah, it should be possible. Let's talk to Vladek. So we talked to Vladek, and he came on board, and we're now trying to train properly and get back to where we were.
Fitness, yeah. He mentioned it was like training for Björn. I was like, okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't know. It's we'll see what happens. So the first thing we realized that we have never really trained ever, but because normal people don't train.
Yeah, it's like you develop your own system that doesn't feel really like training, but it actually is. You're not that focused on it, and then essentially you don't really care if it's training or not. At some point, if you're like not doing it professionally, yeah.
We just we just go climbing, and when it starts to get difficult, we stop climbing.
Yeah, okay. That's the first wrong spot there.
So yeah, exactly. So that was the start, but then we realized no one's going to be able. I mean, first we realized that in order to do this, because this is going to be hard, we have to sort of document it, because otherwise we won't do it.
Okay.
If no one can see that what we're doing, we won't do anything. That's how we work. Yeah.
Good. Cool.
So that's how I started this YouTube thing. But we also realized that no one except us and a few other guys really cares.
Mhm.
And we also wanted like input and inspiration from other people.
Okay.
So that's where you come in, Stasha.
Yeah, I hope I can help. I mean, cool.
So yeah, here we are today. It's a mix between what we're doing and interviews, chats. You back to competition climbing, and Meiringen, I watched it. I gotta say that on the first problem, the slab, I was like, no, this Stasha, what is she doing? Like, she doesn't look like into it already. But then
Yeah.
it just went machine, right?
Yeah, that was the qualities. Yeah.
Yeah, the qualities. How did it feel?
It felt weird. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with different styles. I'm used to practicing on certain types of slabs, and I've gotten really good at some things, and some things I've never been able to do. I've mastered certain techniques that I couldn't even dream of doing before the injuries and stuff. But then I come to a competition and I see something completely different, something I'm not even like thinking about doing, like standing on one leg on a small foothold in a slab. I mean, who does that nowadays anyways? Like, I've trained all the possible volumes, all the frictions, dynamic, static, everything. And then I come and I have to crosswalk on small footholds. And then I'm just shocked by why is this even on a World Cup, first of all. And then me not being to execute that, of course, because I've not trained that, and it's like you need some practice, you need some feeling for it. For anything that's like slab related, you need to go through it a couple of times to be able to be confident in such things. I mean, if you haven't done that in months and then you come and you have 5 minutes, of course you're not going to do it, obviously. So that was kind of a style shock for me. I was prepared for almost everything because I know how Remy sets. He set in Moscow, and there was also kind of a shock for me as well. As a person who really practices a lot of dynamic moves, coordinations, I'm trying to do as much as the guys can do. I'm pushing myself into guys' problems so often just to be able to learn these moves, all the possible coordinations. But then when I come to the comp, the coordination is either too simple, it includes 1 to 2 moves, or it's so hard and completely missed, like that one in the semifinals of Meiringen. That was totally out of dimensions, out of physics, out of everything. Like nobody did what they wanted us to do. And we all desperately tried to get momentum to, everybody knew what we had to do, but it just never came there. And so, I've been practicing these things. And then I came to Moscow, and it was all push here, push there, put your foot on your head, put your foot on your head there, mental up here, mental. It was all the same. Every boulder, every round was basically the copy of the previous round, just a bit, a bit more difficult. And then you have a couple of boulders like that. And then, of course, your shoulder is starting to just fall off. And in the finals of the bouldering round, I got my dessert and I got a coordination move, which of course I did first try because that was the type of moves I did daily for, 20 repetitions in a row just to be able to, execute whenever I get something like this. And then I don't get these things. And then I'm just shocked and disappointed mostly. So I was ready for mining and I said, okay, anything can happen. Any kind of weird stuff can come. I should be able to climb everything. And then I pushed myself into the weirdest kinds of moves. We also had the Remy set in Germany as well. So then I was like, I know you hate this. I know you hate this style, but just like do it, you have to do it. So I was kind of readier for Meiningen, but the slabs shocked me completely. Slabs were just like, I know I'm good at slabs and I really always do well in slabs and comps, but this comp was just like not my type. And then, as you said, Björn, in qualies, I then flashed everything else. It fit me well. It was good. I had good flow. But then, I don't know, semifinals, something was wrong. I felt a bit weak that day. I just think I didn't recover well, even though I didn't do much the day before. My body was just not feeling 100% that day. And I can't pinpoint a reason. And then I couldn't really do much. I got super pumped at the end and then missed the finals, which were my goal. But now working on that power endurance and torturing my heart nowadays. Just go boulder to boulder.
So I got 2 questions from what you said now. First, what happens mentally to you, like when you come out to the first problem, like in Meiringen, and it's like, what the actual, what is this? Can you easily brush it off and just, well, obviously you did, but how do you sort of forget it and move on?
I had to do a lot of practice on that since Moscow, because that's kind of a thing that was my biggest mistake in Moscow on the comp, the European Championship. I was so angry with the boulders that I forgot what I have to focus on. So this was my main mental training of the whole winter. I just had to do a lot of meditation. I had to acknowledge that I'm angry, that I don't like this, but then I have to accept it and say that I'm not here to be angry. I can't afford to be angry. I just have to acknowledge it and push it somewhere at the back and leave it to be mad later on. I have a task to do, and I have to do my best to find my way through the boulder, no matter how much I hate it, or it doesn't fit me, or I'm too big, or I didn't do this in a while. So it's all about just being super focused on performance and not letting anything else affect me, because that's just going to pull me down, and I don't benefit from such thoughts. So it was just a lot of meditation, remembering what got me super frustrated in training or in a comp simulation, and just rewiring that moment in my head, and then realizing which elements were the worst, why I didn't do this and that, and how to recognize this kind of anger and just push it backwards and ignore it, and then still practice these moves, so when they actually happen in a comp, I can do them and not get angry about them.
Like in the competition, it works to the practice of meditation and pushing it away. It works.
Yeah, it does. Like I mean, during the rotation itself, you kind of can't really allow yourself. You don't have time to meditate, but you can meditate in between the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You can, of course. Like I try to breathe it off. If I see that I'm getting really angry during climbing, I just try to like breathe out in strong, explosive breaths, and then focus in the rotation. Just clear out the head, not think about anything, just to get everything out and have a blank space. Sometimes I imagine swimming in white paint. I don't know why. It's really awkward, but that kind of helps me eliminate everything. Just like imagine that white paint is everywhere around me and I'm just swimming in it. Weird, but it works.
I'm going to try that. I'm sure Vladek has plenty of questions as well, but I'm going to take over here. Sorry. No, but the other one was actually a question from Instagram. From I should actually say who it was, because she makes like so cool products. Anyways, the question: what's the difference between male and female problems on competitions? Because she was like, in the gym, it's the same.
Insane difference. First of all, to begin with, male problems require more power. Obviously, guys are a lot stronger, and therefore they need harder challenges. They have smaller holds to begin with, worse holds. They have to use their upper body a lot more, and so on. They're rarely confronted with, I don't know, like small box problems, let's call it that way, where they have to fit onto one single volume. They're more dynamic. They have more dynamic moves there. A lot of complex situations where they have to jump off really bad holds or really small holds or a really bad position, and then just catch 2 or 3 holds at the same time. And you'll never, I mean, not never, but you won't see this in female climbing. Like, probably if it happens really rarely, and maybe just Janja can do it, or someone would just actually practice that. And yeah, in female climbing, what bothers me the most is just that I can't say it's bad, but it's just lack of creativity. I feel like female route setting, and I keep pushing this thought everywhere I can, female route setting is the same as it was 4 years ago. I don't think we've seen any changes. You don't see anything different. It's like basically the moves just become weirder and uglier and just more uncomfortable. And as a tall person, for me, getting into small box, it's not that I can't do it. It's just painful. My back hurts. My shoulder want to pop off. It's like when you don't fit into a problem they set, you just have pain. If you're short and you can't jump, you don't have pain. You just can't jump. You just have to train to jump higher. If you're tall, you're actually in pain, and people don't get this. Why it's such a problem?
I get it.
Yeah, it's really like some guys also, like the extremely tall guys also have this problem, but yeah, it's hard when you're out of dimensions. Like I'm 175, the average height in the female category is 163. So it's kind of a disadvantage. Not always, of course. I can sometimes reach things. I have to jump and so on. I have a span. I can cheat through certain things. But yeah, this discomfort is something that really bothers me because I don't want to push myself through unnecessary pain. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this is the way of modern root setting, to just push yourself in a certain position where your back is just going to cry. It's not interesting. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's not interesting, but it's what I do. It's what I compete in, and that's what I have to adapt. I can't complain all day. Of course, I cannot complain forever about this, but it's my job to be able to do everything. So I'm just going to practice my back mobility until it stops hurting, I guess.
But like, I guess, I mean, this is going to be speculation, obviously, but why do you think that is, that the female root setting doesn't change? So is it because the root setters don't think that female climbers can do it?
Mostly it's like that. I mean, I've had contact with a lot of root setters, and a lot of that background reasoning is, girls can't do it, we shouldn't put this. I don't know how it works on an actual World Cup. I haven't had experience with that, but girls kind of avoid these things, and then they complain it's too dynamic and they can't do it. They train it forever and they can't do it. It's really personal. Like, I'm really good at it and I want more of that, but most of them are not, and they don't want it. They want something else. So we can't just have personal root setting wishes and say, hey, can you please put this and this? Of course, I mean, I can't do it. The goal of root setting is to separate climbers. You have different styles. Like the perfect root setting round is where you have a bit of everything. You have a crazy dyno, you have a tricky slab, you have a powerful compression thing, you have something in between static pushing, and that's it. Like you have all different styles, and the climber who's able to execute everything is the best climber. Simple as that. And
yeah, I agree with you.
That as well. It was the semi-final round was actually good. When you
I
look
agree
at
that one of the goals of root setting is obviously to separate the climbers in competition, but for me it's also to test the climbers and see what's actually possible.
Yeah, I mean, especially after such a long time period, you don't know what everybody was training, and that was the biggest problem of root setters here. You don't know where people are. You know just locally, like if you said in France, you know what the French are able to do. If you said in Japan, you know what they're able to do. But you don't know what the rest does unless you've been to their country, set a bit and seen what they can or can't do. So, and I mean, anyways, the first comp of the season is always experimentary. You just put in some things and then see if it works or not. From what I've heard also, they actually made semifinals for women harder after qualifications because there were so many tops in the other group. I think it was B group or something. And there were too many tops, and last minute they just tweaked the boulders a bit so they were harder. And I don't know, for me personally, it felt brutal. It was a brutal round for most of us. But yeah, you can't expect, and you have to try and see what works and what doesn't work. And I think they have managed to see that also in Meiringen too.
Right. Well, how do you see? What are your thoughts on that? That in Meiringen, the difference between the groups was huge. I think in one group you had 2+4 or something, and the other one 4+5. I mean,
it happens.
It happens, but I mean, the idea is to try to make the difficulty equal, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, they always try also to make the boulders similar. But I think what happened was you had two boulders that were next to each other, and the one had more overhanging than the other. Then they put a bigger hold there, so it was a jug, and a lot of people could do it. And in my group, it was a bad sloper, so a lot of people fell in that. Or, for example, you can't make it identical. Also, it could happen. We always look when we get the start rates, which group is harder. And you can never tell which group is harder. So some climbers may happen to be in the group which is stronger, and then they generally as a group perform better on the boulders that were given. But you can't, route setting is such a hard job, you can't actually get it right anytime.
For sure.
It happened so many times that you had one group that had to flash everything, whereas the other group got in with 3 tops and so on. It's like not the first time.
What would you prefer, like an easy set or a hard set?
Hard set is always better.
Yeah.
Because you can then really see who is in shape. If it's an easy set, mistakes are not allowed. If the set is hard, as for example the semi-final round was, you had people who topped everything. You had people who topped 3 and 2 and 1, and that's where you actually can see the current shape of that day, who is actually strong, who's not. We had examples in like Adidas Rockstars, I don't know, from 3 years ago, where you got into finals with the flash of 1 boulder. If you took 2 tries, you weren't in, and that was like the old rule without zones and stuff. So yeah, also this rule that prioritizes the number of zones instead of number of tops, that also brings in this different game where you can afford to have a lot harder problems, but somebody who reached at least a half of it is going to be better than the ones who didn't, obviously. And yeah, harder rounds, I think they're always better.
So you approve of the new rule, like that the zones are more important?
I approve it. I logically do approve it, but if I look at my history of results, I would be always better placed because I always have less top attempts, but then I fail to have a zone somewhere. So for me, it's always been a disadvantage. Whenever I look at it, I say, ah, shit, I wish it was the old rule, but it makes more sense though.
Yeah. Honest answer.
Yeah.
I think Vladek had like a bunch of questions.
Yeah, sure. I have a bunch of questions from Instagram. But first, I want to ask you again for the mental preparation. Do you work with some mental coach, or you figure out on your own?
No, I read books on it. I read experiences of other athletes. You can find a bunch of books.
Yeah, sure. And then you try what works.
Yeah, I try different methods and see what works for me.
Okay, cool.
Because everybody has their individual mindset, and not everything works for everybody. So you need to find your trigger.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's the difficult thing, right? So to find it.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time investigating this. So it takes quite a lot of work. Yeah.
So the questions from Instagram, I have like 2 questions from Russia. They are almost same or similar. First question, it's Paulaner or Franziskaner?
Paulaner.
That was from Katja Kiprianova.
But I'd say adding I like more if we're going to talk about Weissbier. But from these 2, Paulaner.
Okay. And the second one, it's Hefeweizen or Dunkel?
I don't drink Weizen at all, so I'd say Helles. Sorry.
Okay, that was from Leo Zukrov. So.
If from these 2, maybe Hefeweizen, but not a fan really, no.
Okay, cool. Then somebody asked you, how was your trip to Switzerland last week?
Smooth. There's nobody on the border. They're just cops on the border to entry Austria, and they ask you where are you going, and you say no, transit. Are you stopping? No, okay, bye. That's it.
When did you start with the climbing, and how did you get into the climbing actually? So...
I was born into it. Let's simplify. I grew up with climbing. I officialized my start of climbing as 2004. That's when I started going on some kids competition and also going to Bulgaria to compete. My first international medal was in 2006. So I was 9 years old on that international festival in Veliko Tarnovo. And yeah, I grew up, we have a house in a climbing area in Serbia, in Niš. It's called Jelašnica. It's a very, very beautiful climbing area. Limestone, really nice. So I've spent most of my life there, and growing up in a climbing family, kind of, it's you don't really want to get out of it. So even though you have options to do other things, you kind of always end up climbing. I had a couple of periods where I was like, no, I'm just gonna, I don't know, play football, ride a bike. I don't want to climb. But then every time I just came back to it. So.
But like your sister got out of it, right?
Yeah, she did. She she got out of it when she entered. Yeah, my sister lives in Stockholm. She has been a Balkan champion in climbing when she was a teenager, and she was still climbing when she was in high school. But her professors had no understanding for climbing and for trips, so she had a lot of problem in her high school with that. And then she enrolled in the architecture university in Niš, and then she kind of stopped. She decided she wanted to take studies seriously, and yeah, she now works in a huge company in Stockholm, and yeah, every now and then goes to Klettercentret and does a climb or two.
Another question is like outdoor or indoor? What do you prefer?
Both. I can't do one without the other. I had seasons where I was doing a lot more indoor climbing without the outdoor, but it's just depression comes out of it, nothing else. And this year I've kind of structured my trainings a lot different. Like I didn't climb as much as I did last year. Like last year I prepared for the Olympic qualifications, and I spent minimal time outdoors from summer on when the comps came back. In the quarantine periods, I was more outdoors, obviously. But I now climb 3 to 4 times a week. I do fingerboarding 2 times a week. And from those 4 times a week, climbing at least once is outdoors. So.
Where do you climb usually outdoors then?
I'm usually in Frankenjura.
Yes.
Yeah, I can have so many projects there. There's also Kocher, which is in the south of Munich, but I haven't been there. I plan to do some lead routes down there. I'm not a fan of bouldering down there. A lot of my friends go, but I can't make myself to go to limestone of that type. It took me some time to get used to Frankenjura bouldering, but there are actually some really nice lines. And now I have some projects going on, and I'm super hyped about it. But also Austria is super close, like Odstad, Zillertal, but now we're closed and it's not that easy to go there. So yeah, but to answer the questions, both, definitely both.
Okay, cool.
A couple of questions as well. Well, I actually have one because the first one you really answered, that how you started climbing and all that. But there was a PS there. PS, I think you're really cool, from Julie. Yeah. And then we have a question from Ravid Aloni, who asks, does Sasha have a climber boyfriend?
Why did I feel that this question was going to come? I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Simple answer.
Do I have to elaborate?
You don't.
He climbs really hard, so he's a good sparring partner. Excellent sparring partner.
Harder than you?
He does have a harder bouldering ascent than me, but we almost always climb the same things. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, he has an 8B boulder. I don't have it yet, but I have an 8B plus route, and he just did his first 8B, so we're still kind of, chasing each other.
Nice.
Awesome.
Do you have a coach?
Let's say I'm working with my family, and my dad is basically the one who has a general overlook on my trainings and is in the function of a coach. So basically everything I do it with consultations with my parents, and I explain the general plan. I'm the one who comes up with ideas and who structures everything, but they're the ones who basically say, okay, this is bad, this is good. They evaluate a lot of my things and see which parts of training are giving up, bringing like good results and good moves. And they're really critical always about my moves, and they can best see how I climb and what lacks. So I think they're my best analysts. And yeah, we've always done things together, so we still do. But every now and then I have like a short consultation or a few sessions with Urs Stöcker and also Ingo Filzweiser is around Munich quite often. Sometimes I go to Slovenia with an old friend of mine, Borut, and yeah, I like, you know, having a couple of sessions with people, talking about trainings, different philosophies, mostly discussing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to like learn from different.
Is there anything you feel you lack in terms of training possibilities or coaching or anything any part that you want more?
Currently, I lack access to a fitness gym in Corona times. That's my biggest problem, because all of them are closed, and the one that the German team is using, I don't have access to because of national belonging things. But yeah, that's like one. If a gym has weights, I'm super happy to do a session. But like that's what I'm lacking now.
And somehow I don't have the sense that strength is your weakness.
It's not. This is the first winter that I haven't stepped in the fitness gym, that I haven't done a single bench press or a single deadlift or squat, and yet being physically stronger than ever. It's really funny, but it's basically because I spend 2 to 3 times a week on this fingerboard of mine here, 2 meters away from me.
What is your bench press PB?
I think it was 65. It was almost my body weight. Yeah, 2 kilos off my body weight. Yeah,
Strong.
That was it. And my deadlift was 110. Yeah, I was super happy when I reached 100. But no, I haven't seen weights in a while. Only the ones I lift off the ground.
Yeah. Well, there is more questions. What's your favorite style? Like crimp, slopes, dynamic moves? What do you like?
Dynamic moves and crimps. Yeah. I'm super psyched on crimps now. I crimp all the time. Like I couldn't bend my middle finger today this morning. Okay, maybe too much crimp.
So jumping to crimps, that's ideal.
Yeah, works good. Yeah.
What's your favorite climbing exercise?
Fingerboarding.
Fingerboarding, yeah.
Yeah, just dead hangs, lifting weights off the ground with the fingerboard like a small block. I use this problem solver, the small robot one. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I've been testing quite a lot of fingerboards recently. Like, I mean, my favorites definitely is Beastmaker 2000, just because of the benchmarks I can get on each grip. But I've also tried. Yeah, now that I'm doing the slopers now, it's hard. But I've tried this Dudes versus Gravity. There's like a couple of Slovenian guys. They made like a super aesthetic fingerboard. And it's the complete opposite of what I'm doing, but it's super cool. It's super nice. And it has an actual grips that don't hurt your skin so much. Like on these sharp edges, you always get, your skin gets trapped and impinged. And then you always have pain in the pinkies. It's horrible. But this one is like ergonomic, and you can choose which grips you want to take. It's really amazing. It's really cool. So yeah, if anybody wants me to test any fingerboards, I'm here.
Because you're not doing the Olympics now in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And next time the format is going to be different in Paris.
Yeah.
So have you stopped practicing speed?
Oh, of course. I don't want to tie myself on that route ever again. Come on. not even for fun. Like I like freestyle speed climbing. That's cool. Like you get just a random route with jogs, and you have two different routes, and then you just have to be quick up on it. That's what I really like and enjoy because it's always different. You have to be creative, and you just, also have to think really quickly. It's not that automatic. But this one, the standard route, I mean, it's not my thing really. So yeah, now I've decided not to compete in lead comps this year because I want to take some time to go outdoors more, to maybe go to South Africa in summer. I've never been, and it's always been like this Olympic thing, and lead comp start, and I never get to go there. But I am training lead, I am training endurance, and I am doing outside lead routes. So I never intended to stop that, and it's something I really enjoy. I still need some mental part for the comps, but I guess next year when I start competing, I'll focus more on that. So yeah, that's the plan. Except if for some miracle Victoria Mishkova doesn't go to Olympics, then I go, which in this case would be very unfortunate for me. Then I'm really in a problem. When I was second, I was like, oh man, this is like the worst position ever. Like technically, you were just like, I don't know, a few points away from going to Tokyo. But then again, you don't have to do this anymore. But then again, if something happens to her, you go, oh, horrible.
If something happens to her, did I hear?
Well, yeah, something happens. Like she can get injured, she can get sick, she can, I don't know, fall on the doping test, like anything of a lot of things that prevents you from going somewhere. Of course. Yeah. So let's hope nothing happens to her.
You say you want to go more like for outdoor climbing and bouldering. So do you have some specific like boulder problem or route which you want to climb now? Like
there's a full tick list here.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see anything.
Basically, you want to climb 8B.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's what it's called. Yeah, there's Moiste Maise, I don't know how it's pronounced. Ubuntu, Device. I want to try them and see which one suits me the best.
Yeah.
Then yeah, a couple of 80 pluses, a lot of things. So yeah, I also have like a full Frankenstein tick list here, and I have a problem that I see a boulder, I see the video, and then I forget what it is, but I still have it on the list, and then I forget what my list is, so I have to keep it in front of myself and rehearse which boulder is what, because I always forget until I actually do the climb.
You see a really cool boulder that you want to do, like a hard one, obviously, with 8B. Do you sort of create your training program according to that?
It comes automatically. I don't know. Still have this project in Frankenjura, for example. It's a lead route. It's a really long 8C. And I just trained specifically for this one move where you have to really lock off on a bad slopey quimp, pull your shoulder in after, I don't know, 60 moves, and then go into an underclean pocket, which is pretty far away, hit it in, and then squeeze a couple of moves. And then I just started doing these outreaches all the time. And anytime that some similar boulder happened, I just, while I'm warming up on a spray wall or on these wooden boards, I would just find moves that simulate that, not really planning to do it, but I just really want to do the project. So I like repeating similar stuff and getting my body ready to perform that move when it comes to that.
Here, do you follow some like specific diet, or do you just eat whatever you feel?
Yeah, I can't afford to eat whatever I feel. My genetics is very ungrateful when it comes to that. So yeah, I do. My body generally works better on carbs. So I have like 60% carbohydrate intake, and then calculating my protein needs depending on in which training cycle I am, and then the rest is fats. But I usually do like a low fat diet, counting the calories all the time. No matter if I'm losing weight or keeping the weight, it has to be counted, because otherwise it just goes out of control. I love snacks. So I have to not buy snacks and not eat, like I have rules. No eating out of package. And then I don't buy packages because I always eat out of packages. Cook only cooked meals, only like 4 meals a day. And then I, like, for example, I skip breakfast. I don't like eating early breakfast.
Is it like for you when you're studying that your mind is constantly like, is there anything else I could do that I have to do? Like clean some stuff or eat some stuff?
I have never known how big of a procrastinator I am until 2 weeks ago or last week when I had a project due. Like I had a research internship since December to March, and I had to write 20 pages of report on that, like theory, what I've done, what happened, blah, 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 experiments, data, graphs, and so on. And I had to hand it in last Friday, and I had a presentation last Friday morning. On Wednesday, I'm sitting on this very floor crying because I don't want to do it. I've already cleaned everything. I went for a run. I did climbing. I did fingerboarding. I've spent 4 hours on Instagram. And still, like, I know I have to do this, but at some point I'm just like, I just can't make myself start writing. And then, I don't know, I ran into a TED talk about procrastination and how you always have this pleasure monkey that just wants to do whatever is pleasurable until the panic monster kicks in and just the whole panic appears. I just connected with this video so much. That made me laugh, and that made me actually start my project. And I did finish it in time, luckily. But yeah, it's always finding excuses to do something. Like, I should be following lectures now, but I have 3 plants that I got soil for. I replanted them today. I'm just sitting here and watching them like something's going to happen in the I'll go do laundry, go do this. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So basically, you're quite normal.
Yeah, it is. It's more normal than we think, actually. Yeah. It's incredible how anxious you can get from all that.
What's your plan for the next month? I think you are going to compete in Salt Lake, right?
Yes, I go to Salt Lake City on the 17th of May. Stay there until the 31st of May. Then I'm back. Then I hope to go to Serbia to get vaccinated for COVID. After that is Innsbruck World Cup. In between I'll train, maybe steal a weekend or 2 of rock climbing. And after Innsbruck, I hope to go to South Africa for a few weeks.
So you already booked it, or?
No, not yet. Today I realized I have an exam on 27th of July, which kind of shortens my trip for a week. Okay. But I guess 3 weeks should be all right.
Yeah, then I hope to see you in Salt Lake.
Yeah, hope so too. Yeah, I still haven't got the waiver information back because we need like this exemption special permission to enter US, and we've sent the data and all the documents and stuff last week, and they say it takes like a week or 2 to get the allowance. We've been in contact with their federation about trainings in between and stuff. So I mean, so far everything looks okay, but we'll see. We'll see what happens the next week.
I'm sure you'll get there, and I'll be watching from home. Like it's gonna be. Like, I guess the qualies will be not broadcasted. So, but semis will be.
Semis are in the morning, which means it's your afternoon, but finals might be in the night.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I'll watch it.
I stayed a couple of times when I didn't go to Vail. I stayed up until, I don't know, 3 o'clock, 4, just to watch.
Yeah, of course. When you come to Sweden next time?
Sweden was actually an alternative for South Africa if it doesn't work out. that I'd come to Stockholm. My dad goes there too. My sister's building a house and he's helping her with that.
All right. Where, do you know where?
No idea. No idea. But I've also seen, I haven't seen that before, but near Nokkeby, where my sister currently lives, there's a bouldering block with some pretty hard stuff.
8B.
Oh yeah, 8B, exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, I could visit my sis and climb around there. Maybe go to Norway as well. But I don't know. I mean, I'd really love to come on autumn, if in case like we don't have the Asian World Cups or something else happens.
Perfect.
Yeah, I
We have some
mean,
plans.
okay, sick. Because it's my tradition. I go to Sweden in November every year, and then yeah, since COVID happened, I haven't been.
Yeah, you know, because we have that those 8Bs in Nokkeby, but also there's also this 8B in the middle of Stockholm.
Ah, sick. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, Houdini. It's in the middle of Stockholm, right? You can actually see the town hall from the block.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should do that.
Yeah. I mean, I love going to Sweden. I always did. We'll see after the World Championships in Moscow. If I have some free time, and I really hope I do, I'll definitely come.
It was so nice having you, Staša.
It's nice to talk to you. I mean, we usually talk often. We usually meet often.
Yeah.
And then now it's kind of not.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Like I didn't even have a chance to see Vladek in Meidingen.
Yeah.
We saw each other from a distance. We didn't have a chance to talk or say hi. And then we randomly met in Kironica last weekend.
That was a nice surprise, actually.
We could actually hug. You know, you can't hug people in the isolation. You can't greet anybody. You can't even stand in the hall. You have to sit on a chair. Because there's so many friends I haven't seen in 3 years now. And I couldn't hug them. It was like, let's meet somewhere later and then we'll hug. You know?
But when nowhere can see it.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. It's I can talk about these Corona rules forever, but let's just follow the rules and make everyone happy. So we keep competing. Yeah. Can you, Vladek, move to see the photo? I didn't see this one. Oh, that unsuccessful dino. I like the face.
Yeah, that one.
And that one's from the Legends. When was that? That was
in 2017.
2017.
4 years already, yeah.
Oh, man, I almost won. I was so close to winning. Oh, yeah. That was a fun comp. I really loved it.
Well, thank you so much, and cheers.
Cheers again. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you for being part of this. See you in Innsbruck.
See you. See you later. See you in Salt Lake City. Yeah. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Staša.